What's up, everybody? It's George back again with Warp Charge Gaming, and you are about to watch an interview that I had with Elliot, who won the Nova Open 2018 Kill Team Tournament. I got second in the same tournament, right behind Elliot there. It was an amazing event, and we spend this moment you're about to see talking about the event, what went down, some of the challenges that he might have faced, and just, the tournament scene in general. So I hope you enjoy and keep taking fun seriously. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, Heretic Astartes ain't easy either, but you were talking about bringing a bunch of cultists, weren't you?
Yeah, so did you have a chance to play Matt Hole with 19 cultists?
I did.
You beat him, that's right. You beat him in the first round of the finals, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I was looking at a build like that with maybe just a couple more Chaos Space Marines in it, which maybe gets away from what he was going for. If you necessarily need all 19, maybe like a dozen or so would be good.
Sure. Yeah, I always do that math on like what's that one extra number I can take to make the break test like that extra model more, you know?
Yeah.
If you take 16, they need 9. If you take 15, they need 8.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking at an awkward number of about 13 with having 3 Chaos Space Marines in it. So I don't know if I'm going to need to, drop one and try to pump up the bodies to like an even 16 or something like that.
Even if you just went one more body, because you're at 13, so that makes a 7 is what it takes to be more than half. So if you go to 14, then it takes an 8.
But I don't know. I guess I was looking at rocking the plasma gun and the heavy bolter. Do you ever do the gifts of the god or beseech the gods? Doesn't Nurgle have an equivalent?
They have like
that where you roll, it's 2 command points and you roll a die. It's like so you roll at the very beginning of the game, and on a 2+, you gain +1 to hit and wound for the remainder of the game, and on a 1,
right.
take D3 mortal wounds.
I have that, and I've never done it.
I think I'm gonna try it this weekend with the heavy bolter guy and make him a non-specialist and see how the gods favor me, because it seems like it'd be nasty with the heavy bolter.
Yeah,
wounding a lot of stuff on Tuesday. But
yeah, you're in Minneapolis, right?
Yep.
What's have you played other games beyond Kill Teams? Like, what got you into Kill Teams, and what's kind of your group like around there?
So I played in one Kill Teams tournament, like the second weekend it was out. It was like a learning tournament.
Right.
And I went 2-1 in that. I ended up losing to Grey Knights on a break check, which has been kind of the theme with my Astra Militarum. Even if my leader's alive, I'm taking that on a 7. And with the list I was running at Nova, I only had 10 models. So it's pretty easy for me to get to that like 6 model mark pretty quick. It's like, if we've got three flesh wounds and 3 guys out of action, against who was the Thousand Suns guy?
Dwayne. I think his name was Dwayne.
Yeah. Dwayne triple shotted me on the first turn.
Ooh.
And took 1 guy out of action and took two flesh wounds, which was pretty lucky for me to only take flesh wounds. But then I was taking it on turn 2 or something like that.
Ooh.
I passed it once and then failed it on turn 3. And luckily I had been kind of aggressive with my positioning, taking that 5th objective right in the center there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stepped out on that first turn, and I had gotten ahead with the 3 points per turn scoring, and that's kind of what held me in the game then, was that he wasn't really able to come back. I could have easily lost to him. He was my first round matchup, and I think I failed like 5 out of 6 break tests.
That's who I lost to in the finals. And if crazy enough, it was on the final die roll on a shaken test.
Wow.
And it literally was a tiebreaker too. Like, we both scored the exact same points, and then then it was down to the shake test. And if I failed the shake test, I lost the objective and lost the tiebreaker. And so there it went. Yeah, it was crazy.
Were you aware that it was probably going to come down to that? Did you save?
It was a balls out game. You know, it was all till the very last moment where I was like, oh my God, it's a tie. Okay, let's look down. Okay, what's the tiebreaker? Like, we had to go through all the motions it was all down to the very last turn for sure. It was crazy though. Like, I was on the up and up on the very first turn. I shot his leader down. I killed his psyker and his leader in one shot on the very first shot. So like, I thought I had him.
Yeah, that the Thousand Suns sorcerer or whatever he is one of the nastiest characters, I think, in it, between his psychic power, his hand flamer, and his force weapon all on top of it.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Grey Knights at your local event, because you know, I was thinking today that I didn't see any Grey Knight players, and the internet definitely, you know, I play Grey Knights myself a little bit, and they're definitely strong.
Yeah, I had meant to bring them as a second army if I had qualified. Like, I qualified in my third tournament there out of 4, so I would have brought them, but I was just doing everything at the last minute, of course, and didn't give myself enough time to go pick up my buddies fully painted. But I played against one. It was in round 4, the very first round, and I had just won the pod earlier that morning, and the guy told me that it was his very first game, so I opted out some of the plasma. I went with the 4 Scions, and then I went all las guns because I didn't want to like give him a sour game as his like first 40K experience and want to turn him off. And I was already, you know, signed up for the final tournament on Sunday, so I ran with a little bit of a lighter list than I would have normally, and it came down to the very last roll, like me shooting a Grey Knight off the like last objective. So I think we had a really good game, and then after that, I turned it back up, and I was like, I want another box.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny, man, because I mean, I did something similar. I won my very first pod on Thursday morning, and then I won on Saturday morning, and I was like, okay, I feel like, you know, these Death Guard are being a little bit power hungry, so I pulled out the Tau, and it, you know, because I thought they were good, but you know, still like they're not Death Guard strong. And still had great games and managed to pull out second. I forget who I ended up. Death Guard beat me. Yeah, I lost to Death Guard by a point again. So I felt good about it. It was a good run. Ended up getting second in that pod. But same kind of story. Wanted to lighten the load. You know, got in the finals.
Yeah, I was really happy with the prize support they have. I've got all my stuff sitting here. I'll just pan to it for a second.
Yeah. Show it up.
Set up. But so I got 1 box for each pod, so I won the Saturday morning and evening pod, and then when I won the whole event, they gave me another box, Necromunda, which is going to be my Alpha Legion, like cultist gang.
Sick.
And then you're familiar with these, all the finalists. I thought it was really nice that they gave us Nova markers, and these markers, I noticed on your videos, they show up really well too, which was kind of an issue they were having with the main 40K stream, and then this, which I actually didn't have. I went and bought for the tournament, which is nice too, but it just takes up a lot of space in the back definitely.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
But so it was definitely nice of them to give everybody that, and yeah, I had no problems like watching your games, where when I would tune into the 40K one, they're kind of like camouflaged in. I could only kind of tell where they were sometimes based on like where all the troops were standing and stuff.
Right.
So the bright orange, great theme with the color and everything. So
did you see yourself on the Warhammer community page? I was checking out.
I did not.
Oh, dude.
I have not been on it yet.
Oh, I was checking out last night.
Is it?
Oh, it's cool, dude. Like, I'll put it in this video as well, but you have the GW community page put out all the winners of Nova, and they show you with like the Nova backdrop, and it's like all super like photoshopped and tight, and it has a little write-up about how you kicked everyone's ass.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they did take our photos, and I got to meet whoever it was just like in a photo op thing with one of like, he's like the project manager, not the guy that like writes the rules. I'm drawing a blank to his name.
I know he's the bigger guy that's bald, right? Yeah, he's totally cool dude. Yeah, he's mainly involved with, he was mainly involved with fantasy, but at the GW preview release, they announced that he's moving over to the community team, which was cool.
Okay.
I forget his name too, though. But yeah, but it's I enjoy looking at all that back of the the backdoor actions that are going on, you know, seeing all this stuff. That's one of the coolest parts about Nova, is feeling like you're in the thick of the scene, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of sad that I missed the preview. Did you make it to that?
Yeah, it was totally cool.
Preview?
It was totally cool. It was, there wasn't a ton of like 40K news. I mean, they were definitely hype on the, which I am too, about the new Rogue Trader Kill Team box coming out.
Yeah.
Looks pretty sweet. I read a write-up on that too. They say that like they have those big monsters you see on the box, and they've designed it to be like close combat only, and you can take the most elite army in the game by 3 of those big monsters equal an entire kill team.
Wow, so that's cool.
They have like 4 wounds apiece, and they're pretty nasty.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
So
I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, they look sweet too.
So is that going to be pretty soon? I've been hearing.
That's what the feel is. I don't know exactly the date, as they are, you know, typical of GW, but.
Yeah, it could be very soon. So are you still on the Death Guard, playing for Papa Nurgle hard, or
there's a local event coming up that's playing Nova missions, and you know, kind of like I want another box kind of feeling. Like I think I'm gonna take the Death Guard and go try to go beat it up, but then. Locally and for fun, I'm busting out the Orcs. I found the Orcs really challenging, but they were the first kill team I wanted to play the most. I got their expansion box and found that the additional tactics they get make them a lot more viable. They have something like Overwatching twice, and they're
nice.
They're definitely geared towards taking a bunch of flamers. So gonna mess with that and try. I found it difficult in general to use flamers in kill teams, and I started shying away from it after having experiences where they were just having no effect, particularly against Harlequins.
Yeah. Well, with them, I mean, they've got that super long range, so they can either be outside of your flame distance. Right. You know, if they're outside that 8, they're going to ignore it, or if they can hide behind a piece of terrain, they're going to ignore it too, and they'll just charge right through it. So
easily.
I was a little bit let down by him too. The 2 games that I lost to Matt, you know, I saw all these cultists, so I opted in 4 flamers into my list with the normal guardsman, and it just game I got priority and just ran right into his face, and he just readied all of his cultists with las guns, which is his entire force, and he just shot all of them down, and I was basically sitting there with 6 models versus like 19 then on, you know, to start 2. This is not going to end well. And then I tried it against him again, and it just, I don't know. He was spreading his guys out really well. I think he was doing that to you too, where he did that formation where he like runs them around the objective in the center, and then all 4, and then you were able to get in there, right?
Yeah, I have the close combat
Swing the
side.
chain.
Yeah. That didn't work out well for him when I went into the middle of that.
So he was doing that against me hard, and I was just.
Is there, besides the 1,000 Suns in the finals, was there any particular match that was, especially hard, or a moment you were really worried?
Surprisingly for me, my game 4, it came to dice roll against Space Marines. So he had a nice little combo where he took a sergeant, but not as his leader. He took a scout as his leader and just kind of hid him strategically, and then the sergeant can take the Auspex little scanner, and that gives him plus, or it ignores the obscured and ignores the -1 for the out of action roll, and then he made him the comms guy, so he's basically given +2 and ignoring that -1, and he can basically use that on whatever guy, the scout heavy bolter or a Primaris, and then I kind of screened myself out. I was super worried about his flamers, and I left my plasma guns kind of in a center position there where they couldn't see the rest of his stuff. So I did get his flamers taken out, but then they were sort of in a poor position, and I think I rolled a couple 1s on my to wound rolls, and maybe had an overheat that made that one really close. Generally, the power armor games didn't go too bad for me. It was the Orc game I kind of lucked out and was able to annihilate his Burnas as he came up into my face. I did opt for 2 flamers in that one, and it turned out really good. It was like the perfect amount. I knew he was going to have to come at me, so I sort of just posted them like in a position I know he was going to have to come, and I sort of just readied them. So when his burners came up to my flamers, I was able to get the jump on them.
Yeah.
And
so out of your games, did you find yourself fluctuating from your command roster pretty often?
Maybe twice I went with the 2 flamers, and then against Matt Howell with the cultists, I went with the 4 flamers. Other than that, every single game I played with full plasma. And I think if I had met Matt again, I would have just stuck to my plasma and just tried to shoot it out with him, really. I mean, they're really good. The 2 out of action rolls you get to take is just exceptional for taking people out. The 2 damage is exceptional against the Death Guard, anything with the feel no pain. Totally. It goes through 1,000 Suns well too, because they don't get their bonus to their armor. Yep. It's just if I get unlucky and roll 2 of those overheat rolls. That happened in a few games where I had 2 guys kill themselves in the first 2 turns. And because
you basically got like 1 tactical reroll and then 1 sniper reroll as your and then your orders as well. So you got 3, right?
Yep. And then that's really it. So I really try to extend that tactical reroll as long as I can, meaning that if the first 2 guys fire off and I don't have to use it on them, then the 3rd guy gets to overheat. It kind of rolls down the line, versus if I have to use it like on a 4+ armor save from my leader getting shot at, then I kind of have to either roll really risky and do it, or go without, going at the low power. And the low power is kind of brutal because it goes down to strength 7. So against a lot of Marines, I'm only winning on that 3+ then, and then the single out of action roll is a big difference versus being able to overheat it all the time.
Yeah, gotcha. Did you play? Do you play like 40K big game, or did you like just?
I do.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
What's your armies there?
I'm playing like a Steel Legion army that's basically just running a full brigade, where I'm running like 3 Hellhound, a few Primaris Psychers and Commanders, and then a bunch of Mortar Squads. And then right now I've been rolling like 4 Blood Angels characters, so 3 Smash Captains and the Festan with 3 Custodes Bikers. And basically it's a tactic they have too in Kill Team, which is like the move, where you get to move and advance the second time. It is the fastest thing ever. Like I was able to just, in Kill Teams, to project guys across the board. And so in 40K, I'm getting 2 6-inch moves, so 12 plus 2d6 for a turn, getting me about a 19 movement. It's outpacing my Custodes moving 14.
Jeez.
And so like people kind of laugh usually when I just run on their face, but if they can't shoot that wall back, and then there's a few Hellhounds there too, the characters are basically all positioned for a 2-turn charge. And I haven't seen a lot of people running that. I think the normal choice for that would be like the Castellan instead of the Custodes, but
that sounds fun.
Kind of a decent. Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I won a Rogue Trader like the weekend before Nova, so that was a lot of fun. That's the first really good success I've had with it. So
nice.
It's been good. I've been loving all of it. I'm kind of alternating weekends now, more or less, for whatever's happening for tournaments locally here. And
very cool. Do you have a shop that you frequent mostly? Is there a pretty good scene in your area?
Yeah, so we've got a few Dreamers. Dreamers Vault Games is kind of the big tournament hoster around here, and then we've got the Fantasy Flight, like corporate big HQ store too, up about 30 minutes north of me here. So that's a good place to go for like an arranged game. But Dreamers is like holding all the local tournaments. So
very cool. So I was thinking, this is like, man, like, do you frequent the Facebook groups at all about kill teams? You check that stuff out at all?
I do. I'm like in 3 or 4 of them. There's a competitive 40K kill team that I think did Mike Brandt make that one?
I'm not sure if he made it, but he's definitely in there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Some of the other ones, I just like, people will be like, what's a good kill team to play? I'm just starting. And they'll be like, oh, whatever the kill team you like the most is the best one for you. And I'm like, that's not helpful. Like, I want to play like intense games that are like, you know, where the person's giving me their like hardest go, and that we're both just like challenging each other strategically. It's not about like stopping in people's faces.
Right.
It's about having those like close, you know, when you're in a tournament and you're 2-0 or you're 3-0, and you know you're sitting across from somebody that has the same record as you, and you look at their kill team or army, and you're like, wow, this is going to be a great game. I'm going to be sweating it out, you know, to the last dice roll. And those are the ones that I really, like, you know, it goes down to that last roll. And
yeah, totally.
I got that in several of my matches with the kill team. I was really surprised to see, you know, how quickly things can turn around with either a, you know, a break test or an overheat there, and all of a sudden things are back like even. And,
yeah.
You know, you're. But,
yeah, the Nova missions did a good job of setting that up as well, with just the style of the missions and the secret choices of the secondaries. It was well thought out. It was well thought out.
Yeah, I noticed that you were taking really good advantage of them, and I'm kind of glad that we ended up not playing, because you were prepared to take down those secondaries where in some of the missions just, or in the primary, if there wasn't like a easy like prey on the weak, obliterate, readied shot, those were ones that, you know, I would max every time. But when it's on these other ones, making the charges, attack, getting 3 out of action rolls in assault, even some of the ones being in your opponent's deployment zone and stuff like that, those were just basically no go for me. And I think a lot of the time I lucked out that it was the same thing for other people. The missions were tailored for that. I think that's just what a lot of people had for the kill teams.
Yeah, I feel like that the secondaries, more often than not, were lending to combat in order to kind of help them out against the heavy shooting that's out there, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's nice to force you to get up off your objectives, so you can't just, you know, stay there in your deployment zone and score 2 every turn, and just try to shoot your opponent down. I was really happy with how they are. I'm not expecting too much tweaking is going to have to happen for like the Las Vegas Open. We're basically on the website for that right now. It's a link to the Nova packet at this point, and then I think GW will make whatever tweaks they see fit.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and so like I mentioned the Facebook groups just because, a lot of the same questions come up, a lot of the same answers. I was curious in like your play testing and learning the game, was there anything particular that stuck out as like, oh, that's how that's played, or it took you a second to grab in your mind for people out there that are like, might be able to take advantage of hearing the pitfall early and being able to skip it? Like, I don't know, just like the whole thing where if you're falling back from, you know, you can't recharge over and over again. That was a big deal.
Yeah, and I think that is going to catch people definitely, and it did. I know one of the guys got a bit irritated, not really at me, but just at like the game situation and a couple of his previous dice rolls, and that meant that he was basically just standing there on the objective, and I had a couple of ready plasma gun guys, you know, that was, you know, and that was kind of the determining factor there at the end, was that I was able to fall back. And then to make it worse, guard can take an order where they can shoot when they fall back. Not even a command complicate point. That. I think something you can do is like a Warhammer 40K tactic where you can pin a guy into combat, so you can't fall back unless if they have a fly keyword, they can fall back pretty much always because they can jump out of there. But like for you could, you know, if you can get 2 plague bearers around the side of the guy and get him 3-pointed so that he doesn't have any direction to move out, even if you whiff on that first combat, you don't have to attack a second time. You can just know that you've got him planted there. You know, maybe you're standing on an objective with number superiority.
That happened in that cultist game where he had the 4 surrounding the objective, and I killed the 3 on the outside, but the other one was backed into the corner of the ruin. So I didn't even swing on him and just piled into him to keep him stuck in the corner, and he couldn't fall back from it, which nullified his shooting next round as well.
Yeah, that's a really great tactic. I was kind of baiting people to, you know, come up there and charge me. I put my comms guy forward like that, maybe just one of my regular plasma guns, and they would charge up and in, and then I would just fall back that turn and have a couple readied Scions standing there, and then, you know, Plasma 2d6 take the highest on a 4+.
Totally. I had to do that I mean, I have to do that a lot with Tau versus Harlequins, for instance. Is almost like it's more important for me to charge them than them even charge me, so that I can lock them in their place and position the rest of my army. So when they get the kill, I fall back next turn to unload on them, you know?
Yep. It looked like a Tau guy, a Harlequins player won the Sunday morning pod that wasn't the finals round.
Right.
So I don't know if you saw more than that, but it looks like that's who took that one.
Yeah, that was, I think, the one Harlequin player won his pod, as I would expect. Like, I thought there would be Harlequins everywhere by how good they are, you know?
So question for you, are you guys going to be the Best Coast pairings?
Oh, yeah. I'm about to make a Best Coast pairing video. I'm like a huge ambassador to the ITC and Best Coast. I was so stoked, you know, that they got it ready in time. I just hit up this local tournament that's about an hour away and asked them if they're going to be using the Best Coast, because if you're not, it's really a lazy move when people don't do it. Yeah,
it's something in the main 40K community where it's basically become the standard. There's not any events that I've attended this year that haven't used it for like an ITC type game.
I was so impressed.
I think
with both Nova and GW and the Best Coast pairing, like everybody stepped it up to support kill teams like it should be. Plus the GW packet release for Nova, the printed cards, exclusive print offs.
I've got them all right here. So if you go to a normal tournament, this is what you'll see probably. You know, it's like a homemade packet. A lot of work goes into it, right?
Right.
And it's great, but I mean, what they provided here was, you know, GW artwork.
Yeah.
Perfect layouts with all the missions and everything. It was just really fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just, I've never seen be this involved with the community. And they came out with these cool little cards here for each one of the missions too, with little artwork on it. And it made it so easy to select them. You know, you just kind of pick the ones you want, put them in your pocket or set them face down on the table. And then you like review.
It was, dude. It was
when you score it.
Historical. It was historical. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so glad to see them re-engage with the community and provide the stream support.
So when you got the win, man, did you immediately like call your bros? Did you jumping up and down? Did you get carried around town?
I was texting a couple of my close buddies like the whole weekend, so I was doing pretty well. I only had about 2 losses in I think I played 16 games. So I was texting them, oh, I beat this guy, then I beat this guy, then I beat this guy, and I beat this guy. I was texting them like every couple around. So, you know, unknown. So I texted in the morning. I'm like, oh yeah, the Death Guard guy took out the Chaos Dude guy that I was afraid of. And
yeah, hell yeah.
Clear for me to go in now. And then, so yeah, they probably weren't too surprised when I got the win. And you know, I was super happy to do it, and then I'm looking forward to stepping back into the tournament organizer role then for the Las Vegas Open and letting somebody else have it too. So
sure,
I'm not sure how the enrollment is gonna go for that. I mean, we have plenty of space. If people want it and people sign up for it, we could easily run 60, 80, 100 people. I think.
Oh man. That's amazing.
Frontline's got the space. Yeah. So right now it's set up as Sunday only event. 4 guaranteed rounds for everybody. And then we'll play additional final rounds for the undefeated players if as necessary, so that we'll have a true winner. So that should cover us up to about 100 people. And if we only get 64 or something like that, it'll probably be 4, and then the 2 undefeated players will play in a finals type match like that. But that's kind of how Frontline does all their stuff. You know, you play until there's one true winner.
Yeah.
It's not battle points. It's just win-loss system. And so I want Little Kill Teams event to reflect that. And I think that we'll definitely have the terrain and the space and the time to be able to do that. So really, yeah. So.
Okay. Well, man.
You should think about it, because just keep your eye on airfare, because I've seen stuff as low for Minneapolis as $150 for a round trip. And if you look at Spirit or Sun Country, or I don't know if they fly there, but you know, some of those cheaper airlines. And then there's definitely like reasonable hotels, like in the $50-$60 range a night. And if you've got a couple other people with you too,
yeah,
you know,
fair enough.
2 or 3 guys to a hotel room. I mean, you know, go out there for a night or two. It's, you know, it's kind of subsidized by the hotel industry to be affordable like that,
right?
Because
you
know, they think you're gonna blow all your money at the tables or whatever.
Yeah, no, I used to.
Little do they know we're at different tables.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I used to live in Reno, Nevada, so familiar with the hotel gambling scene concept there.
Yeah, but it's really cool. They pick like Bali's casino there, and it's right across the street from like Caesar's Palace and the Bellagio, so they're kind of like right in luck there. And it's like the building's attached to like that Eiffel Tower Paris thing too, so it's kind of surreal. You can like walk from like a huge Warhammer 40K tournament to all like the LED lit slot machines, and then like walk further and you're in like that indoor outdoor like Parisian like thing. So there's, you know, food options all over the place that are, you know, reasonable. So
yeah, sounds wild.
Yeah, so
well that's awesome, man. I'll definitely chew on that a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, if you could get, you know, a little bit of sponsorship to pay for, you know, even part of it, it might become affordable, you know, for the listeners too. It seems like a lot to travel for a Warhammer 40K event, but I mean, it's something I really look forward to. Like, that's how I spend a lot of my vacation time, is doing this stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
no, I really
enjoy it.
It's a whole culture. Yeah, if for those that haven't gone to a major event, it can definitely like open your eyes to a whole nother world of how deep and big this thing can get, you know?
Yeah, and I think the Kill Team is going to hopefully bring out a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people that play Warhammer 40K, and for whatever reason, they're either like, you know, a bit put off by the tournament scene, like it seems intimidating, or they don't have their army painted, or, you know, there's different reasons that they won't go to even like a local Rogue Trader tournament. And I think that Kill Teams kind of gets around those things where, you know, you can paint an army even if you've got kids and stuff like that in a few weeks. You know, you can have it ready to go.
Or even the travel.
You can paint it in a weekend.
Yeah, I'm like thinking about flying. I'm like, yeah, I could easily cruise with a Kill Team. You know?
Oh yeah. Oh, it was so easy. I mean, this holds a whole roster. You know, this is space for 20 guys. I probably could have fit 2 or 3 in that the hard case.
Yeah.
And they were actually sold out of this at my local gaming store when I went to go buy it, like 2 nights before the tournament, of course, doing everything at the last minute. So I was especially pumped when I got this.
Nice,
because,
man.
I mean, this in a little dice bag, I mean, you don't really need more than 6 dice plus markers.
Cool. Plus, you know, hobby tools, a little swag. It's all cool.
Yeah. What I really want is I heard Games Workshop is making them for like tournaments.
Okay.
And
like I've seen a pack. Yeah, they're sending them to stores. There's like medals. They're just like I play Shadespire as well, and they've been sending awesome Shadespire packs to stores.
Have they?
Yeah, let me show you this thing. I won a Shadespire tournament locally, and they send these like sick glass trophies, man.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's straight from GW, you know.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so there's a pack out there that's been floating around the internet, and it comes with sweet tokens, and it comes with like 3 medals, like bronze, silver, gold, and shit like that. So hopefully that they do that on a quarterly basis, like they do with Shadespire, and really, I think it's a great move to be able to like bump these local stores to have a meta in their area, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the GW stuff in particular is like stuff that people have always really cherished. You know what I mean? Whether it's like a T-shirt from them, or markers, or even the little award.
The cards, like the cards are dope.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we're starting a campaign here that I'm going to play in on Sunday, and I know our store reached out to GW to try to get one of the prize packs or whatever. I haven't seen any photos of them in circulation yet, but so maybe we'll end up with one for that.
Yeah, I'll shoot you some shots. I'll show you the shot of you in the community page.
Awesome.
I found the shot of you and I shaking hands with Ben. Ben was an awesome judge at the Kill Team.
Oh, yes.
He was such a cool dude. He held it down. Held it down.
Yeah, he had to make about 4 calls in our last game just on line of sight stuff.
I saw.
You know, it was. I mean, it's just that's what he's kind of there for. It's like I can sort of see like the speck of my shoulder to your head, kind of, and
yeah,
you know, it's so close. Why should like we have to make that call ourselves? And so he was looking down and looking again, pulling train out of the way and looking, but
oh man, I'm
happy with that.
Had you lost that last game, like I might have took it, you know. So I think I had my fingers crossed a little bit. I was watching him make those calls.
Yeah, I broke on that one, like at the end of turn 2 or something like that. I had to play turn 3 and 4, but I made a gamble. So there's those 2 kind of no man's land objectives where there's no terrain around it, and so I ran 2 out and 1 out to the sides, knowing that he would have to reprioritize shooting at just like my guardsmen with plasma guns versus my scions. And then I kind of consolidated my scions, who are my really valuable guys. They hit on the 3+ and they have the 4+ save. So they're really my go-to for the killing power. And, you know, if I'd done it again, I probably would have just opted to stick in some more guardsmen and drop those plasma guns and run like 3 out on each objective and really make it hard for him. But, I got lucky too and killed a flamethrower on Overwatch when he was charging me for that objective. But you know, I rolled like 2 1s, I think, on that first turn to wound him, and I had already used my tactical reroll or whatever. So for me, that was evening out the dice roll. Open. I was like, all right.
I love it. I love it. That's the beauty of it, man. Like nobody is going through and just like, I mean, granted, you know, I'm sure we both had some games where we pretty handily took the victory, but kill teams itself, the Nova missions themselves, it's great at fostering those moments and those great games. So gotta love some kill teams, man.
Yeah, definitely. It's quickly becoming my new favorite thing. So we'll see how the Alpha Legions do this weekend, but the book missions are interesting. That's all I'll say.
Man.
I mean, they're matched play, but they're still hard. So I'm gonna take some of the elements I think I learned out of your list with getting like that Zealot character or whatever.
Yeah, Zealot in combat.
Yep, and making my aspiring champion that, and then kind of having like a chaos cultist leader hiding out somewhere, you know, giving me that good command point bonus.
Yep. And
then having that option to attack again a second time. If I make him Mark of Corn or whatever. So he's going to be kind of running up with a couple flamers. And then, I don't know, I'm going to roll the Favor of the Gods or Beseech the Gods with that heavy bolter. And, you know, he's not going to have any specialist title. And then I'll have a sniper plasma gun because I can't get away from
that nice plasma shot.
Love of, and it's something that Nurgle doesn't have, unfortunately, with that sniper, right? That was excluded. But I think they make up for it with some of those reroll ones to wound with the plague weapons and stuff. So it just goes you to show how much detail the designers put into it when you're thinking, oh, this would be overpowered, and you look and that specialist isn't there, you know what I mean, for that faction, and you're like, oh, that's a subtle little, you know, design.
We think alike. I love that stuff too. I like to get in the heads of of how the game was created, because I think that's how you figure out some of the power of what's good and what's not, you know.
So,
and each faction is special. Like that's kind of like the idea, is that if you can kind of figure out the special sauce to any particular faction, you know the designers had some sort of intent to make each one individually good in its own right.
Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking about NIDS too. After we talked and you were talking about kind of running that horde style, maybe running like 2 warriors with like the spine fists and the claws, the rending claws, and then getting as many hormagaunts or spine gaunts as I can just to hold people in place. Like,
you know what else is gross about those rending claws that I've realized in a game the other day is that they have the rule that makes them behave like pistols, and the fact that they can shoot into, like, they're like pistols, but they're not pistols. They're assault, but they can shoot into combat. Even if they themselves are not in combat.
Interesting.
I didn't realize it, and it's so weird. Like they can, it basically just acts like a gun that can shoot into combat, which is like really, there's no limitations like there is on the pistol rule.
That's really good then, because I think the Gaunt's can easily push enough bodies to, rush those objectives if we're like looking at the Nova style and just trapping people in combat. I think that's one that would have really given me a headache.
And then the break test is gone,
Yeah, the break test is the bane of my existence.
Right,
so.
you get the synapse and you're all good to go. And then on top of that, like talking about surrounding people so they can't fall back, you could surround them so easy with all those bodies and just score.
Yeah. I mean, that would have really given me a lot of trouble if I had run into that list. And
Same.
the Orcs did too. The Orcs gave me a run for the money. He made some long charges that kind of compensated for his Burna Boys kind of getting blown up. So on the other side of the table, he was rushing back, and then his Nob and Boy that were attacking one of my guardsmen and were in a position to kind of consolidate into my objective where my leader was and my comms guy and sort of roll back my back corner objective, and then he just whiffed on it and back and plasma'd him in the face. So that was where that one turned. But
yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, that was kind of the theme of the weekend. But I think the Astra Militarum with the plasma is good, but it's certainly not undefeatable. And there was certainly some lists that I was worried about. Anything with hordes, even the Death Guard,
I think it's all about cloud of flies. Like I was mentioning to you there, if I took I only had 3 Poxwalkers, but if I carefully maneuvered one of my combat guys to try to stay out of line of sight, but not move as fast up the board, while I take one and go headlong up the board and protect him with cloud of flies with all 3 Poxwalkers, I should be able to survive at least a round of shooting. And hopefully be able to make that charge on the next turn. Like that would be the goal,
Yep. And when I played the Death Guard guy that I did, he only had one Poxwalker out there. He had the other 2 going towards an objective. It was that one where you have to like cross on the table. That was the most challenging. So he was kind of stuck down on that bottom one, just like moved out of his deployment zone to get that objective marker that was at the bottom there. And then he had his combat guy move out, and he only had 1 Poxwalker supporting it there, and then I had several ready plasma guns, so I was able to take him down that turn, and I rolled really well too.
Sure. Yeah, I found in some of the games where I did really well is it's because I rolled extremely hot and they rolled pretty low, So it's like sometimes that's how you're good at 40K is by kicking ass on the dice rolls.
Yeah, and It seems like that is more of the case though in kill teams, where people will get very irritated in a Warhammer 40K 3-hour tournament game.
Right.
But part of it is like you drop those units in and then you have to sit there for 2.5 more hours as the guy just kicks your teeth in. You know what I mean? And you have to just it's just salt on wounds versus in a kill team game, it's like you got 20 minutes left, and then you have it out, and and you go get a beer, and
not to mention, comparatively, there's a command roster, and you can actually change the negatives. Like I was talking on my Nova talk show last night about how it sucks if you bring something that is not optimized, or you learn at the event that you made a mistake in building your list, and then you got 9 games to play with something is wrong. It's a terrible feeling. Terrible.
Yeah, that happened to me at the Dallas Open GT this year. I was trying to run this special Imperial Guard list because that was all I had painted. I was running 20 Steel Legion plasma guns and Commissar Yarrick and in the tank that can hold all the guys and shoot out.
Stormlord,
and the Stormlord. And it was very clear, after 2 games, that it was, not being played for a reason by other people, and I had another day to finish and another day, and I was just
that's a little daunting.
yeah. So that's still my lowest score in ITC or whatever is that one. I won 2 games in that tournament.
I feel you, man. I brought Index Space Wolves to Adepticon this year just because I wanted to run what looked cool. And bringing the rule of cool to a competitive 40K tournament, you better be ready to lose.
Yep. I played a guy that was doing that round 2 at Adepticon, and same deal. He had a good build for Space Wolves, but just no main book.
Yeah.
Just kind of leaves you hanging, no stratagems and stuff.
Yep.
They're definitely gonna have a bounce up now after the new book.
Woo! Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So,
well, Elliot,
man, I think
it was good. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, we're gonna keep in touch. Let me know how your Alpha Legion does. And
yeah, definitely will. I'll be posting in the Warhammer 40K competitive.
Good.
Is that what it's called? That's kind of my main one.
Cool.
So
I'll see you there.
Okay. Well, I'll see you at Adepticon. It sounds like for sure.
Yes.
But so
love it. Love it.
Yeah, man. Well, it was great to talk to you again, and it was great to talk to you at the event. And
yeah, man.
I'll see you at Adepticon for sure. So.
Awesome, Elliot. Talk to you soon, man.
All right, man. It was good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Take care, bro.
Yep.